yeah, now, my people, it's Kunle, a.k.a. the Nigerian Englishman.
And it's Obi, making my debut on Round on the Ground.
Welcome to the World Cup Bonanza. Okay, the World Cup has started. We're excited. Obviously, we're not emotionally attached to this tournament like we've been in others, and we know why. Nigeria no day there.
Nigeria no day, my brother, man. It's tough to take.
Exactly, but it's football at the end of the day, and we can't help but get excited. Obviously, yesterday was when the tournament started. Qatar versus Ecuador, which I wouldn't say is the most glamorous game. What do you think about the game, first of all?
Look, it was a strange one. We're used to World Cups where teams that are not really popular start the competition, so it's great, like there's a Bolivia and stuff like that.
Exactly.
But I think it was nice, I think it's nice to see the hosts play and to see them play in the tournament for the first time. It wasn't too bad in terms of the spectacle, but the game, nah.
Wasn't it?
Nah, man.
But even though it wasn't it, there was a bit of controversy with VAR at the start of the game. First 3 minutes, it was disallowed, but Valencia brushed off his shoulders and scored 2 more, will make him the record Ecuadorian scorer in the tournament. And also, he inflicted the first loss of a host nation on opening day.
Absolutely.
That's some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But on to today, obviously England are playing today, and it seems, even though we should be talking about Maddison not being in the squad or in the warm-up for yesterday, we're talking about armbands when it comes to England.
Wow. I mean, of all things to talk about, we're talking about armbands.
Do you get? We want to know, is football coming home, England fans? Is it coming? And I know you guys are confused because half my name is Englishman. I am not supporting England though. I have my reasons.
Are you sure?
We'll talk about that another day.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
We'll
Comment
see.
section if you want the answers to the reason why, I can do it on next week's show.
We'll see about that.
But also, what's a big blow in terms of some teams before the tournament has even started? We have Benzema out of the tournament.
Yeah, it's quite sad to see him. He's just won the Ballon d'Or.
Exactly.
He did fantastic things for in the Champions League. Remember winning a Champions League again, and it's been imperious, and his form has been great. We're all looking forward to him partner, Mbappe. So it's really, really, really painful to say the least.
100%. And the fact that he missed out on the last World Cup. They thought this was the time the prodigal son has returned, Ballon d'Or winner. There was a story to be told there. But we're not going to hear the end of that story just yet.
Quite sad.
And I would say that's the last chance he has of playing at a World Cup with him already being in his 30s. The likelihood.
Thinking about it, I'm just wondering, you have a point there, but you never know with these things.
For sure. That's very true.
You never know with these things. Yeah.
But apparently, like you just told me this morning, France are not replacing him. They've got an up-and-coming, I guess he's kind of hot and cold with Martial, could have come into the side as an option.
Yep.
But also, Alex Lacazette, whether he plays in France or England, Deschamps no send.
Deschamps doesn't really care, to be honest. And you think that, with his form currently in the French Ligue 1, that he would get a chance, to actually play. As for Martial, I must say that if they decide not to take him, I can embrace that decision because he's been hot and cold, up and down.
Injuries.
He plays for 2 games, he's out for under 10 games,
exactly.
So it's a bit of a gamble if you ask me. Yeah.
For sure. But Lacazette, 9 goals, 3 assists.
Yeah.
He should have been in the running. But I think with Benzema not being in the squad, Kante and Pogba, they're 2 bigger losses for France to claim this trophy again. I don't know what you say.
Yeah, to be honest, if you look at Russia 2018 and you looked at the setup of France, the heart of that team was Pogba and Kante, N'Golo Kante. They say, if the world, 1/3 of the world is covered by water, the rest of it is covered by N'Golo Kante. So you can imagine the spread, what he does, retrieving play, breaking up play, breaking through like that. Of course, Pogba, incisive passing, fantastic, movement of the ball. So, and the physicality as well. So I think it's a huge blow for France, but that being said, we have people like Tchouaméni, people like, I even hear Nkunku is out of it, people like Tchouaméni that are doing great stuff at Real Madrid and Camavinga, So I think it's going to be, young people stepping in to do the jobs of big giants, but I think they can pull it off.
So that's why I'm saying they have great talent in France. You can never deny that, but I just think the wait for these young guys, it might just be too early. But again, the World Cup is an opportunity to make a name for yourself. So let's see.
Absolutely.
We have, unfortunately, our biggest chance for World Cup glory, I thought going into this tournament was Senegal. I don't know if you thought the same. For our
Same here.
continent anyway,
Absolutely,
right?
for the continent. Yeah.
And the leader of that was Sadio Mane at the end of the day. Incredible player, African Player of the Year, just got his move to Bayern Munich, doing great things, and he's missing the whole tournament.
And that's so sad. You know, like the first news that come out like 2 weeks ago, and suddenly he said, oh, it's going to be fine, it's going to be fine. And suddenly, we're now here, it's now confirmed, he's going to be out of it. And it's really, really painful, and not just because of Africa, even for his teammates. They've been like, oh my God, we have Sadio. Sadio is going to be that guy, you know, who stands with Messi, Ronaldo, Neymar, but now he's gone. But I feel that the collective abilities of the Senegal team will get them through. I think they're a team, they're strong, they've been together for a while, and I think they'll just get it done. They get the job done.
I see what you mean, because they're the most organized African team.
Absolutely.
With or without Mane. Obviously, he was the icing on the cake and the talisman. But again, he said, rally the troops in. His surgery went successfully as well. Thank God for the surgery. And also, the coach has just given the squad great news, and he signed until 2024.
Fantastic.
So after this tournament, there's some continuity.
I tell you what I'm so happy is that, you know, African indigenous coaches are making it at the highest level. You look at Ghana with Otto, you look at Senegal, and they're all at the World Cup.
The first time
no foreign coaches.
First time all African nations.
Kudos, Africa.
We're progressing.
We are. Right? We've come a long way, so we're good. We're doing well.
So, Obi, I don't think it'd be a week of football if we didn't mention these two names, Messi and Ronaldo. And it's not red flags or crazy interviews with Piers Morgan.
I know. I know. I mean, those are the biggest names. I mean, between them, they have 9 Ballon d'Ors. 9 Ballon d'Ors. That's insane.
Same amount of Champions Leagues, I think.
Right?
Well.
So, I mean, come on. You're right. Correct. We cannot. Yeah.
And the picture of the year, they're calling it, the Louis Vuitton advert.
Oh, my God. You know, I watched the behind the scenes on Twitter, and you know, just... You know, the photograph was taken by Anne Leibovitz, great veteran photographer, you know. And to have those guys in that room, it was an inspiration to everybody, and just talk about their careers and talk about, you know, how far they've come in their careers, and brilliant stuff. And that image, wow.
Incredible.
For years and days, man, that's like...
as in, I wonder how much that picture will go for.
I don't even want to know.
It's crazy.
I don't even want to know, man. It was
but we've seen them at the top of the football ladder for the last 15 years or so, and I guess... Once they retire, football goes back to normal. Where there's people competing for that. Who's the best now?
Absolutely. You know, I you know, it was good for football because, you know, you were either the Messi camp or the Ronaldo camp. But I think at the end of the day, winner is football because you just keep producing. Football just keeps producing stars. That's what I'm looking forward to. What comes next. You know, they've had a great run. You know, they've made football worth watching. They've made it brilliant. They've made it, you know, you're almost proud, like, okay, these are two guys, completely different parts of the planet, and they've given their best to the game. So I'm happy for what comes next.
Because of those two, strikers that scored 20 goals in the season are now a bad year. Because of those. Let's be honest, right? You know? And what better way to end if they both were to meet in the World Cup final?
I mean, that's the perfect exhibition for football. It would have just made Qatar probably the best World Cup.
Literally.
You know, and it's just great for the careers because, you know, it's now like, you know, and you know, if you look at, you know, what it's going to do for, so a lot of rivalries will come to fore. Adidas versus Nike. You know, I mean, think about it. It's just,
there's many stories
a lot, you know. So I'll be a dream fan, but you know, with dreams.
Football help us, so let's make it happen.
Absolutely, man. It's
So we got 3 games today.
Great.
We have Wales versus the USA, we have Netherlands versus Senegal, and we have England versus Iran. First of all, which of those 3 are you most excited to see?
Wow, I think I'm very curious to see what our African brothers are going to bring. I'm curious to see Senegal and the Netherlands. You know, we all know that Louis van Gaal is a master class of a manager. And he's going to do, you know, Memphis Depay is injured. He's not starting.
Oh, is he not?
Yeah, so the likes of Dumfries, the likes of, you know, and a bunch of other guys are going to start in the game. You know, of course, we've got Lord Tyrell Malacia of United. So it's going to be a good game. You know,
for sure.
I want to see how the Senegal sets up.
Without Mane.
Exactly, without Mane and see how far they go. I'm looking forward to that game.
And just to throw this in, guys, Holland are actually my European team. I don't follow England, but I follow Holland. And the reason why is
orange.
because when I was young, the first striker that really stood out for me was, before I saw Ian Wright, obviously, was Marco van Basten.
Marco van Basten.
And
Oh my
in
God.
terms of complete forwards.
Yes.
Left foot, right foot, chip, dribble, hard shot, tap in. He did it all.
Yeah.
That guy.
Especially when you look at him in the glory days of Milan from '87 to about '93, with the Dutch trio of Marco van Basten, Ruud Gullit, and Frank Rijkaard. You know, they won recall the European '88 final against Soviet Union. That half volley.
Yeah.
I mean, like that. Every striker wanted to do that. That
No
was
one's been able to compete.
insane. You know, like. Marco, for me too, one of the really great strikers.
And I know I'm not the only player that tried it in their back garden, but was never able to replicate the goal.
Replicate it, yeah.
But what you always get with the Dutch team, ever since those days, is they're always going to play the Dutch way.
Oh, of course.
It might not always be at the standard that you're looking, but they'll always play their way.
Yeah.
And I believe as a dark horse in this tournament is Holland.
Yeah.
Because no one's really watching them right now.
Yeah.
But there's a few players that, you know, for example, Depay is injured, but I see him having a big World Cup because he's been wrapped up for the whole season.
Absolutely.
And because he's putting himself in the shop window for a potential transfer in January.
Absolutely.
And as much as I want to back Senegal, our African brothers today, I want to go over 2-1 Holland win.
Hard one, but I see like a 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw.
Yeah, and a bit of history. You know, Holland is always, like you said, you know, not the dark horses, but they've been like perennial underachievers. They've been to 3 finals, 74, 78, and of course in South Africa, 2010.
Those 3,
in 2010, and they're this close. And you know, the thing is, they essentially reinvented football. You talk about Johan Cruyff and the total football philosophy. You know, Johan Niskins. They provided some of the best players. Dennis Bergkamp. You know, name it. You know, Seedorf, Kluivert. You know, great stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how Van Gaal lines up his men.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think those two are who are going to progress through the group.
I
Holland
agree.
and Senegal. So this
agree.
being a stalemate doesn't really matter too much. But I see how that's going. But obviously then we move on to Group B.
Yep.
We've got, I think the more competitive of the games would be Wales versus USA rather than England versus Iran.
Absolutely. Very interesting matchup. You've got Gareth Bale and co. You know, you've got a lot of,
Pulisic.
you know, Pulisic, you've got Pulisic in there. You've got a bunch of players who play in the Premiership who are in Wales, you know. So it's got to be very, very interesting to see, you know, how because Wales have literally, I mean, under Ryan Giggs, they weren't able to make it to the World Cup for years. Now they are there, and I'm looking to Gareth Bale to inspire them. And for America has always had that team where, you know, the days of Clint Dempsey, you know, great people, you know, great players, but somehow fall short at the second round or the quarterfinals.
Sure.
So we'll see.
Well, I think with American football, it's definitely come on leaps and bounds. It's like, because you're seeing their players in different leagues, not just one league or here and there. You're seeing them
across
everywhere.
the world. Yeah.
A player that I've liked very much this season that plays for Leeds is Aronson.
Yes.
He's been doing really, really well in that in the Premier League this season. He's really impressed me with his creativity, his movement, his dribbling. So I see him having a big year. Pulisic has to have a big tournament.
He has
because
to.
Captain America, we don't see you in the Premier League. And everyone's on him, but now he's back home. I don't know if you saw the USA's promotional video. You know they're very good at motivational and getting you to rally in. So you got to follow through now, Pulisic.
Wear your shield, man. Captain America.
Exactly.
And there's an interesting addition to the American team. George Weah's son is playing for America. So yeah, let's see. That should be interesting.
So there's a story to be told there.
There is a story to be told there.
And one thing that no one can deny this guy, Gareth Bale, is wherever he goes, he wins. He's a champion. He's a winner. He just won a title in the MLS after being there for like 6 months. So even though it's not that same level as he used to in Europe, I don't think Wales are going to win the tournament or anything.
But they should do well.
They should do well. Definitely.
Do well, yeah.
Now coming to half of my name, England. England versus Iran.
England.
Look, the thing I'll say about this English national team is this generation are a crop of great players. They have a good mixture of defense, experience, youngsters, all wrapped up in one.
Yeah.
But do you know what the biggest issue of England is? Sorry, guys. Gareth Southgate. And that is the reason why you guys cannot win this tournament. Your coach, he's just not good enough. He plays 5 at the back and 2 DMs. Like, how much more defensive can you be?
A bit of history and a bit of. So Gareth Southgate was part of a back in the day, you know, with Tony Adams and a bunch of other guys. it's Gary Neville and a bunch of other people. And for him, that's his philosophy, because he believes that, when you hold on to the ball a bit more, or when you're able to be cautioned, that kind of thing. And for me, that's why some of his decisions have really not really gelled with me. Like, for instance, leaving out Ivan Toney. I think it was a big mistake. Because if you look at England, what has been the undoing of England? You talk about the Euros, talk about, even in 2006, penalty shootouts. Yeah. They never do well at penalty shootouts. The Euros against Italy, we saw that. In 2006 against Portugal, remember that. I remember the famous one, Italian 90.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So it's a bit of it. We'll see how far England will go. I think that another problem they've had is, is the collective. It's always a challenge. I think, to be honest, in 2018 Russia, I think that's after the team of Italia 90, 66, perhaps when they hosted the Euros in 96. This is probably 2018 was probably the closest, but we'll see what happens. We'll see.
I agree, but I just don't see it because of Southgate. He lacks ideas. I believe if you have a technically gifted player like Phil Foden in your side, you build your team around him, because there's no one like him in England. So for those decisions, I don't see England progressing. I think they can still get to the quarters, maybe.
We'll see.
But they can't win the tournament. But Iran, I'm going with a 3-0 win for England.
It's a potential banana skin, but I say a more moderate 2-0. More in favor of England.
So it's World Cup fever. Obviously, club football to the side. I can enjoy my team, which I'm sure you know by now, at the top of the league for the next 5 weeks without any problems.
For
now, right? But going to the World Cup, my first World Cup I watched was 1990. And what got me excited was the likes of Roger Milla celebrating the corner flag, seeing the tears of Gaza, watching players like Schillaci and those type of guys. But my favorite World Cup that I've witnessed in my lifetime is World Cup 98, France 98. I've still got some of the vintage jerseys. My favorite player of all time, Zinedine Zidane. He crowned it with 2 goals in the final. On replay, JJ woke up the world in terms of the skill of the Niger ballers.
Denmark.
That was 98 Ronaldo. 98 Ronaldo was a big phenomenon, a big problem for the world. So watching him, Cannavaro, there's so many legends that were at that tournament. And for me, it gave me the most. I don't know about you when it comes to World Cup. You've seen a couple more World Cups than me.
It's like I tell people, it's like in my family, I grew up in a family where, the World Cup was a family event, watching Italia 90 final. As a kid, 86, I saw a little bit of games, I saw a little bit of publications, but I think that the World Cup that really captures my imagination is Mexico 86 because of Diego Armando Maradona. How one player, because if you look at what had the build up to that tournament, nobody really believed in Argentina. The last time they won was in 78. They were kicked out by Brazil in 82. In 86, there was no belief. And then they came to their group stage. They beat Italy. When they beat Italy, everything changed. And that goal, I'm not talking about the hand of God, but that goal against England, beating 5 defenders and slotting the ball. I mean, there was nothing like that before it, and that's pretty much. So I think for me, it was, as a kid, it was a massive inspiration. Then US in 94, the Super Eagles team, oh my God, Amonike, Amokachi, name it, Samson Siege, those guys were like heroes, and I broke my heart. I think that's one game I'll never forget, the Italy match, because we had 2 minutes to glory, and obviously, of course, Ronaldo of France 98, fantastic, phenomenal. I think one really great game that really showed, was the semi-final against Holland. Tough game, 3-2. It was great, So these are some of the memories I have. Of course, the England team of Italia 90. I absolutely love Paul Gascoigne. And
for sure, he was a great dribbler as well.
Absolutely, I don't think England has had any intelligent midfielder since Gaza. I don't know.
Not to that level.
Honestly, So I like that team. Terry Butcher. Name it. Paul Parker. Great guys.
Still though, my favorite World Cup moment I was speaking about over the weekend is still that Sunday Olise strike.
Yes, against Spain.
To make it to win the game 3-2. I remember the emotions going through my body.
But that being said, my favorite World Cup team is Brazil. I mean,
man.
Brazil.
Don't blame you.
Oh my God! It's when you look at look at the legendary teams they've had from 1970 to the greatest Brazilian team that never won the World Cup in
82, Abi.
Spain '82. Falcao, Socrates,
I've seen the videos,
Junior.
man. Incredible
You
team.
know, it was Serginho, absolutely mesmerizing.
goals that that team
Zico,
scored.
Eder. You need to see those videos to understand what I'm talking about. You know, so
It was Rossi's World Cup.
oh my
that year,
goodness,
that's
yeah,
why-
and
that's
you know these things. That's why I say it's football. Football is like biscuit. They say you put it in your mouth and you never know where it's gonna crack. So
Real
yeah,
talk.
so, yeah.
To be honest, this is the most difficult when it comes to predicting a World Cup because there's so many variables now, being in November, December, players injured. But I'm gonna go with Argentina to win the World Cup, and the Golden Boot is going to Cristiano Ronaldo. Remember, you hit it first.
Right.
What are you saying?
For me, I think that Brazil is going to win the World Cup. I think that they have all it takes. They have a great team, and I think the Golden Boot I don't want to say, but maybe might go to Mbappe. Yeah, that's what I suspect. So those are my predictions. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you have it. Another incredible episode of Round on the Ground with your guy, Kunle, aka the Nigerian Englishman.
And Obi.
See you next week. Feel the heat.